The Biden administration.
Once again, the president calls on Congress to do something before another child is senselessly killed in a preventable act of gun violence.
Once again dealing with the aftermath of a school shooting. A deputy in Florida saved from a burning car.
I was in the right place at the right time to save an individual.
And he has fellow first responders to thank. We've been getting recognized.
Making their own money, carving out the slice of independence.
For their roles as entrepreneurs. Plus, threats to the president's student loan relief plan from the Supreme Court, the House, and now the Senate too. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Leanna Bush. I'm Kelly Sanchez. Today is Tuesday, March 28, 2023.
Live from the FIU Lee Kaplan School of Journalism and Media, this is SFMN Newsbreak.
A community in Nashville torn apart by the actions of a school shooter. The White House is reacting.
For more on that part of the story, we turn to our DC Bureau reporter Sabrina Begery-Stein.
The Nashville shooting that left 3 children and 3 adults dead is the 129th mass shooting in just the first 3 months of this year. President Biden called it heartbreaking, adding that his administration's top priority is to end gun violence.
The Metro Nashville Police Department identified the children as Evelyn D. Kaus, Hallie Scruggs, and William Keeney, all 9 years old, and the adults as Cynthia Peak, 61, Catherine Coons, 60, and Mike Hill, 61.
We have to do more to stop gun violence. It's ripping our communities apart, ripping the soul of this nation, ripping at the very soul of the nation.
President Biden renewed his call for Congress to pass an assault weapons ban. The identified shooter, Audrey Hale, was armed with 2 assault rifles and a pistol. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre echoed the president's words, saying the White House is demanding that Congress act now.
Once again, the president calls on Congress to do something before another child is senselessly killed in a preventable act of gun violence. Again, we need to do something.
The shooting happened just a few days after Florida Congressman Maxwell Frost posted a video of police arresting Manuel Oliver, the father of Parkland shooting victim Joaquin Oliver, last Friday during a congressional hearing where he shouted at legislators to stop talking and do something about gun violence.
At this point, the president does not have enough votes to pass an assault weapons ban. In 1994, Biden helped pass one while he was in the Senate, but it expired in 2004. I'm Sabrina Begerstein in Washington, D.C. for the South Florida Media Network.
A firefighter here in Florida being hailed as a hero this morning for what he did while off duty. Lieutenant Benjamin Wootson with Orlando Fire was running late to his son's soccer practice when he saw the patrol car crash into an overpass bridge Saturday morning. Seminole County Deputy Matthew Luxon was inside.
I immediately pulled a U-turn at the next intersection, rushed back. By the time I got on scene, there was a little bit of flames underneath the vehicle. The engine compartment was already on fire. He was disoriented.
He was able to pull Luxon out of the car and use the deputy's radio to call for help. The Seminole County Sheriff's Office believes that Deputy Luxon was suffering a medical emergency when he crashed.
Despite a Democratic majority, the president's student loan forgiveness plan may be facing a challenge from the U.S. Senate. The network's Natalie LaRoche-Pietri from our D.C. Bureau is in Washington this morning.
Republican senators from Texas, Iowa, and Louisiana are planning to introduce a resolution this week to overturn the debt relief program. The forgiveness plan is currently tied up in the Supreme Court. The Biden administration proposal promises to wipe out up to $20,000 of federal student loans to eligible borrowers. Senators John Cornyn of Texas, Joni Ernst of Iowa, and Bill Cassidy of Louisiana said their Congressional Review Act dissolves the proposal because the White House overstepped its authority by not checking with Congress first. 35 other senators have signed on the resolution and argue that Biden doesn't have the authority to do it on his own. Senator Cassidy said, quote, President Biden's student loan scheme does not forgive debt. It just transfers the burden from those who willingly took out loans to those who never went to college or sacrificed to pay their loans off. While Biden would likely veto the measure if it passes both chambers, it would still force Democrats to weigh in on what they think about the loan forgiveness program. As some legislators face tight re-elections next year, they may not want to go on records on the issue, but The resolution depends on some Democratic votes in order to pass. Other Democrats openly criticize the resolution, saying it doesn't target the root of rising education costs. The Supreme Court heard oral arguments last month on whether the student loan forgiveness program is constitutional. The High Court is expected to make a ruling in the summer or sooner. From Washington, D.C., I'm Natalie LaRoche-Pietri for the South Florida Media Network.
President Biden kicked off the Small Business Administration's second annual Women's Business Summit at the White House and announced more efforts to help women-owned small businesses. Reporter Rachel Costa has more from the White House.
At the White House gathering, Biden said that women-owned businesses add nearly $2 trillion to the country's GDP, and his office wants to keep the progress going by expanding the Women's Business Center network.
Where women who want to start or grow a small business can get free business counseling, apply for an SBA loan, and compete for federal contracts. Today, I'm announcing that we're expanding the network of women's business centers to 160 centers nationwide, the largest number of all of American history.
According to the U.S. Census, women own 12 million businesses in the U.S., generating about 10 million jobs. The White House says that means those businesses create 2/3 of all the new jobs and account for half of all the private sector workers.
All the women who through decades have dreamed of having their own business, making their own money, carving out the slice of independence, but couldn't because the laws wouldn't let them or they didn't have the money or family support. That's why what you're doing today, along with women across the country, is so important.
More than 10 million applications to start new businesses have been filed in the last 2 years after the administration's American Rescue Plan, which provided emergency aid for small businesses affected by the COVID pandemic. According to the World Economic Forum, in 2021 only, over half of the startups were started by women. The Women's Business Summit will continue through Wednesday, featuring women entrepreneurs in various panels, including how to access capital and strengthening entrepreneurs from underserved communities. Reporting for the South Florida Media Network, I'm Rachel Costa from Washington, D.C.
The skating community in Hollywood banding together to honor the memory of a fellow skater. The network's Tanya Jimenez was at a festival where they celebrated his life the only way they knew how.
Just its second year, Butter Skate Fest at Justice Skate Park has become a landmark in the city of Hollywood. The event commemorates the life of local skater Justice Chin.
Justice Chin was born and raised in Hollywood, Florida, skating for his entire life. After his tragic death in 2021, his family and friends decided to help his legacy live on.
A couple days within when he passed away, two of his best friends were like, oh, we should get Free Park named after Justice and name it like Justice Skate Park, you know, and like the name would just memorialize him and honor him.
Grew up playing street hockey, roller hockey teams, skateboarding, and he was known here to be a friend of the kids and a mentor and all those things. He passed at 25. With that, they also petitioned to get the little street name was Free Park forever. But now it's called officially Justice Skate Park.
Nothing was more important to Justice than his community. He just wanted to bring people together. So after his passing, his family carried his wish and brought Butter Skate Fest to life.
We need to come together. We have local artists, we have skateboarders that come here every day, even when this isn't going on. And it's to get together to celebrate not only the life of Justice, who was, you know, my friend and a family friend to me, but really to celebrate being alive, having fun, you know, getting involved in something that's outside of yourself and that's creative.
These are just neighbors, friends, and Chloe Chin, who is really the mastermind behind all of this, came to me and said, how can I get this skate park renamed in Justice's name? And so I put her in touch with the right people and got the wheels rolling, and here we are today, able to enjoy exactly what was set out to be.
The Chin family hopes to bring the fest back next year and for many years to come. For South Florida Media Network, I'm Tanya Jimenez.
The Florida Panthers give up 2 goals in the first period before trying to claw their way back.
That's all ahead, and so is this story.
A lot of people would just assume that things are handed to me. People also assume that I'd be good at everything, just because my dad was a great professional athlete. I think I worked.
Legendary expectations for a local college baseball player with a familiar name. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantori here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family and remember any pets in the plan.
Thank you.
Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depressing stuff. That's what white people think. You alright?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
If you're buzzed and doing this, to make yourself feel okay to drive,
ZWX.
you're not okay to drive.
YGKLVW. Regular you.
Reaching for a star, a player at Lynn University trying to play his way out of his father's very large shadow. Not just a major leaguer, Pedro Martinez Sr. was the pitcher who helped the Boston Red Sox reverse the curse and win a World Series after 86 years.
In his own words this morning, Pedro Martinez Jr. talks about trying to make a name for himself in Boca Raton.
You're gonna fail a lot more than you think. It's gonna be hard, and you gotta trust the process. Around the age like 13, I kind of knew my dad. It was not forced, because he never forced me to play baseball, but he said, you're going into high school soon, and I want you to take it serious if you're gonna play it, and if you're not, I don't care. But if I was gonna do it, I was gonna do it, respecting the game. My name is Pedro Martinez Jr. I am from La Vega, República Dominicana, and I go to Lynn University in Boca Raton. My life at home, honestly, I'm pretty chill. I don't do anything, out of the ordinary. I like YouTube. I'm a huge YouTube guy. I get caught in the wormhole all the time. I try to wake up every day. I'm working on consistency, but getting up around 8:30, 9 o'clock. I like to get to school early, do a hitting routine that I do for baseball before I, start practice or go to class. For me, talking about myself, discipline. Discipline is probably a huge part of my life. And patience. A lot of things aren't easy, so discipline I definitely need, and I definitely need patience. A lot of people would just assume that things are handed to me. People also assume that I'd be good at everything, just because my dad was a, great professional athlete. I think I worked very hard for the things that I can accomplish. I want to get to the major leagues and make a different kind of impact than what, we see today. I want to be someone who can really change, not the game, but, the world as well. I try not to do everything my dad did, not in a bad way, but I want to be my own person. So I think you got to just run with it, love it, and have fun. If you don't have fun, you're never going to, like it.
Pedro Martinez Jr. says he's not alone on his journey. Along with him in the amateur ranks right now are the sons of his father's teammates, David Ortiz and Manny Ramirez.
The wild card seems to stray further and further for the Florida Panthers with their fourth loss in a row against the Ottawa Senators in Canada. Still so close yet so far from the playoffs, the Panthers sit 3 points behind the Pittsburgh Penguins for the final spot in the wild card. This heavy loss against the Senators does not help the Cats' situation. They were struggling to get a goal in while the Senators were able to score multiple times in the first and last periods. The final score was Panthers 2 and Senators 5. The Panthers will continue their tour in Canada to play the Toronto Maple Leafs tomorrow at 7:30.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Kelly Sanchez.
I'm Leanne Abu Tarbush. Get more news anytime at sfmn.fiu.edu.